Hello and welcome. I'm Payal Gandhi Hoon, your host, bringing you up close for some riveting conversations with some of the brightest HR leaders. Today, I have someone with me who is industrious, dons many hats with ease and passion. She likes to step out of her comfort zone and explore different shades of her life. She's had an illustrious career of over close to 3 decades and has kick-started her career as early as at the age of 16, venturing into becoming an entrepreneur and earning her own money. She has led different HR portfolios like HR Global Business, Employee Engagement, Global Campus Hiring, spearheading also diversity and inclusion, and she's been the delivery head of shared services. I'd like to welcome Dnyan Shah, Senior Vice President and Global Head for Mphasis HR, to be the guiding light today. Welcome, Dnyan.
Hi, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me over. Appreciate this opportunity and looking forward to a conversation with you, Payal.
Thank you. Likewise, looking forward. And Nyan, I think many congratulations on your fantastic journey in HR. On that note, I'm going to start with my first question to you. What have been some of your personal traits that you attribute to bringing success into your career as a HR leader?
So I think being mindful as a first step of really understanding who you are and what you need is very, very crucial right at the beginning. And I think I was privileged to kind of have answers very early in life. If you ask me, I'm a package of resilience and a vast collection of experiences, and all of them, it's not knowledge that's been gathered by reading books, but actually physically rolling up your sleeves and doing a lot of things, which is what makes me who I am. As you said in my introduction as well, that I started way early in my life, and that was at a tender age of 16. Born in a city that never sleeps, Mumbai, I was wired to be active throughout the day. So the amount of energy I felt I could put it to better use than just wasting it or whiling away time. So with no money in hand really, and just a few people I knew in the industry, I set out to do a venture in export garments, and I did very well. Soon I developed other interests, and I started off a travel agency and created 2 branch offices in the same city, catering to different requirements of various clientele. Like every parent is, my father too was very clear about grades not dipping and education to be completed, and that was of paramount importance. So I planned to do my master's in HR. And you'll be surprised, way back 28 years ago, I was opposed to join HR from my family itself, telling me that it is an IR function and would you be able to deal with unions and workmen and factories and, are you really cut out for it? So me being me, I felt challenged and I took it up seriously and dropped everything that I was doing before this as an entrepreneur. Post my successful graduation is where the journey of 27 years of corporate life began. So I am someone empowered from childhood to create a new reality.
I think that's a very interesting journey that you shared, a personal journey, and like you rightly signposted it, it's really about resilience that you carry through. And like I did say in my introduction also, it's about stepping into those uncharted waters and challenging yourself continuously are some of the traits that are coming out clearly in your life journey and your career journey. So thank you. So moving on to your career, in your career as a people leader, I'm sure there must have been some really tough chords to play for you. I'd like to invite you to share any 1 or 2 challenges that came your way from a business perspective. And how did you transform that into business impact? Because I think this piece of your experience is going to be immensely beneficial for people who are watching this interview. Over to you.
So here I have quite a few stories, but the ones which stand out are a couple which I can maybe share with you directly. So many years ago, where I was appointed as a global head of HR operations, and I joined an organization 20,000 employee base without any HRMS. So we only had Excel records. We had payroll issues. We had overpaying issues. We had underpaying issues. We had non-payment issues. Paying employees who had also left us, some of the time. So it was crazy because managing 20,000 employees on Excel sheets was very, very difficult across locations, across regions, and of course across geographies. So as a head of the unit, I could never really put a hand on my heart and with conviction say that this is my head count, because every location used to send their details, and we would consolidate that, and we were always sure that this is not real time, because there was a lot of consolidation work that was required. There was a lot of effort, massaging of the data and everything else, even before you arrived at a headcount figure, which is unthinkable of in today's day and age, right? So there were no files apart from just payroll issues and others, but there were no files, there was no record keeping. But there were records, but they were not kept in files. So we only had folders. So I kind of walked around and I said, okay, fine. So whose folders are these? I mean, don't we have pictures? So yes, we do have pictures, we have photographs. And then there comes a big box, with photographs. Some had names on it, some didn't have, right? Most were without it. So how would you really make out as to whose record is what, and things like that. So we had huge backlogs on F&F payments, and the weight was really huge. F&F, I mean full and final payments, was really huge. F&F, I mean full and final payments of people who've left the organization, right? PF contribution calculations were delayed. When you onboarded somebody, assigning IT assets, desk space, manager alignments, all of it, which is a requirement of any new joiner in the organization, it was all managed manually, and with whatever limited Excel sheets that we had with us. So as a result of which, employees had multiple queries. They used to always be worried and had thousands of questions to ask HR, and that query handling again was another additional task, because you had queues and queues of queries piling up and you had to respond to them, and there was no query handling or response management protocol in place. So that was an issue. So we had to fix this problem without stopping the existing machinery. So how did we do that? So we had to cut off the backlog. So at some stage you have to say this remains the backlog, and then you implement changes, whatever new changes that you see for the future and for the existing, right? And future, actually, if you take care of the existing, the future will get taken care of by itself, right? And for the backlog, and the backlog was then dealt with to kind of make it seamless and real time over a period of time. We also had another additional challenge, which was the processes, because the processes, if not articulated properly, or if not dealt with properly, can actually get very rudimentary, boring, mundane, and it can become an issue for the employee when the employee experiences HR and they start viewing it differently. So the processes had to be audited for efficiency, and we had to rework along with systems that we were planning to bring in. Stats had to be defined for every action, so to speak. So a turnaround time for every action was required, and it was a must.
All right, so we're now going to move on to the journey of, from the journey of HR to HR trends. And like a world leader once said, and you've been saying there's a lot of wisdom. And I'd like to quote that there are decades when nothing happens, and there are weeks where decades happen. So, Nyan, I'm sure you would agree that HR has been on a similar trajectory over the last 2 years. And new HR trends are now taking over, like hybrid working, digital transformation, use of cognitive technologies, and like you also shared, a lot of emphasis and focus on employee experience and employee engagement. I think where the audience will really benefit is from your views on how do you think the role of HR has kind of transformed in taking the center stage in business in today's day and age.
Okay. So, if you ask me, I personally never felt that HR was a backroom function. Employees have always been pivotal um, in in every industry, and more so in IT industry, and are creators of wealth for the organization, as we have no machinery but talent. So the HR function, if lopsided, can cost the organization very dearly. So it has to be nimble, it has to be quick to react to market requirements, demands of the organization. I think on the other hand, huge demands in skilled labor of late after the Great Resignation can put inordinate amount of stress on the hiring function and also on the training, grooming, skill development function of the organization, right? So there are many such aspects in the project life cycle which can have demands made of the HR department to function to its fullest potential. I think we need to lead and motivate employees to do things and teach them how to be better, be a better self. I think it's important to note how individuals will connect, how they will create, and how they will consume in the next few years. Some key themes that have emerged as a result are, diversifying identities, relationships renegotiated, greater expectations, and expanding values. So all of these things are the future of any organization, and HR needs to kind of buckle up and start riding the wave. So if you actually sit back and think about it, have employees really run out of attention? Not really. They just need a good reason to spend it on you, right? So employees won't remember what you say, but they sure will remember how you make them feel. So this is the advent of employee experience based HR interactions, which is which was earlier more process driven. Today are experience driven. Now that is a given, and that's hygiene. Moving forward, I think we need to think about employees as stakeholders, and we need to we need to deal with them like the way we do with our clients. It's extremely important where in a world of so many choices that employees are seeing, with our latest everything available on your handheld, and there are multiple choices for every single thing, shopping that can be done on your mobile phone, and the world has become so much easier. We cannot stick to our rudimentary ways and means of leading and working in HR. It's extremely important that we move ahead with the times, and we try to kind of bring in that element of customer service to our employee, and that cannot be done without an employee experiencing you differently. So right from the time of onboarding to the time of separation in an organization, there are multiple times that an employee comes in contact with HR for various reasons, and that is something that one needs to kind of really sit down and work it out in terms of what is my employee carrying back with him or her, how is my employee experiencing my interactions as an HR interactions with them, what are the kind of emails that they are receiving, are they directive, are they conversational, are they like do it now, is it a stick approach that we're using in communicating with our employees, what is it that is actually being pushed onto them, or how is it that they view us is so important. And if we don't rectify this, believe me, the image of your group, the image of your team, your department, and no matter what you do, if employees don't experience you the way they would want to, you will not be able to make that impact on the employee.
Right. So, what I hear from you, a clear trend for most companies and HR is really to give the employee experience or the user experience, like we popularly call it. Employee experience is really what we need to be more vested in, how they're experiencing their entire employee life cycle with that particular organization. Right. So on that note, I think also something that we've discussed in great detail, Nyan, is your kind of award-winning work in employee engagement, and you did share that challenge, the business challenge that you went through, invested 3 years on working through it to fruition. I think what will be really helpful is to understand how specifically, let's say, because R&R, rewards and recognition, have become a pivotal in managing employee experiences right now and also employee engagement. Your experience will be extremely beneficial in terms of understanding what could be some of the best practices in the industry when it comes to rewards and recognitions, and what can industries or companies really do.
So I think when you say rewards, recognition, awards, the first thing that you think of is money. Um, I don't think money is the only motivator or money is the only reward that you should look at. Rewards and recognition is very important in every organization. Feeling rewarded for a job well done is a different high altogether and is also extremely motivating. So the system, however, should be fair, should give an opportunity for such performers not to be ignored in a huge setup, right? A pat on the back and an acknowledgement for a job well done is the requirement of every employee, right from a trainee level to a CXO level. So no matter who it is, everybody has this innate desire from within to feel recognized for a job well done. Therefore, more than rewards, I would say a culture of appreciation and genuine appreciation is very key. Now, that you'll be able to achieve through efforts from peers, colleagues, supervisors, etc. And also a tool supporting the same is very essential because all of this cannot be done manually. Appreciation stems from gratitude, and having a culture of gratitude is key. So, are we really saying thank you enough? Are we pausing and taking time to appreciate the good supportive colleagues that we work with? We work majority of our awake hours in office. We spend the maximum time in office, right? Spending it with colleagues, doing work, and we are spending that time wisely building relationships. So rewarding someone should feel beautiful to the giver and also to the receiver. So like for example, we have an annual awards function in our organization, and every year we take our star performers to an international escapade. So they get picked up from their doorstep and they get dropped back, and at no point in time they feel less than a queen or a king. These memories that we create with colleagues are such strong bonds of friendship in the workplace. Now this annual awards function is become truly aspirational and one of its kind, and we have employees really working hard for it throughout the year just to make it to this particular ACE Awards. So that's just an example that I tried to share with you. However, a few things that one must always remember in recognition, rewards and recognition, is that it should be instant. It should be instant gratification. If something is done, do it instantly. Don't wait for like your Excel to kind of compile, your tool to give you data, you kind of collating everything and then thinking of a reward, because by then it's all died down, it's dulled out. I think no wait time is great. It has to be instant. Usage of communication and your campaigns around rewards and recognition is very important again. So what becomes key is communication. Communication is extremely key in rolling out a great program, ensuring that it sustains and it people use it, understand it, and are aware of it, and it becomes a part of your culture. Try to see wherever you can bring in the diversity piece as well. If you can make it inclusive in terms of making it multilingual, all of that is a great add-on to have.
Right. Thanks again, and I like the where you said attitude of gratitude, and to be able to really recognize on the spot and giving timely recognition. I like the piece where you're saying, Nyan, having it available in across different languages course, communication is the key in that term. But it is quite a booster when it comes to employee engagement and they being vested in the company and wanting to be a part of the culture as well. So, on that note, I'd like to know what is that one advice that you'd like to give to HR professionals, which is an absolute must do?
Learn to add value to whatever you are undertaking, and the satisfaction that it will give you, both professionally and personally, is going to be immense. And in the bargain, you're going to get thorough at what you do, you deliver, and therefore, in the eyes of others, you become reliable, responsible colleague to work with. So don't do a tick in the box. Don't treat what you get as your entitlement. Have a sense of gratitude. It will allow you to be empathetic, which is the biggest trait of a good HR professional.
Spoken like a true guiding light. So, thank you. Thank you so much, Dnyan. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the talk series on Guiding Lights by Zaggle. Wish you the very best. Thank you.